We Brits love estate cars, but especially fast ones. Whether it's a BMW, a Mercedes, a Volvo or an Audi, we go mad for hot wagons.
But when it comes to hot electric estate cars, the choice has been non-existent. Yes, of course, there is the Porsche Taycan Sport Turismo, but come on, that's not a performance electric estate car, is it? But now there's this, the Volkswagen ID.7 GTX Tourer, a 340 horsepower load lugger. Now I've come to Sweden, the home of the Volvo estate, to see what it's like.
Now before you start shouting at me, BMW will sell you an i5 Touring with 600 horsepower. But I'm sorry, with a price tag of £100,000, I'm discounting it from this video. Fast estates should be powerful and practical, of course, but also they shouldn't cost the earth to buy. They should bring power to the people. And that's why I'm so interested in this ID.7 GTX Tourer. Priced at just under £63,000, it's £37,000 less than the i5. Sure, that's still a heap of cash. A petrol-powered Volkswagen Golf R estate is around 18 grand less. But trust me, the ID.7 isn't too badly priced for an electric car. With 340 horsepower from its twin electric motors and 4Motion 4-wheel drive, the ID.7 can get to 60 miles an hour in under 5.5 seconds, making it the most powerful estate car VW has ever made. Compared to the regular ID.7 Tourer, the GTX features stronger stabilisers on the suspension, retuned steering and, as an option, tweaked dynamic chassis control with a wider spread of customisation options and an ESC Sport mode. Now that's all great, but I do have to tell you that with a top speed of 112 miles an hour, the GTX is actually slower than an entry-level Golf 1.5. And with it tipping the scales at over 2.3 tonnes, it's not exactly a featherweight either. But show me a family EV that is. What about space? Well, there's tons of it. Even with that sloping roofline, the boot is huge. There's 605 litres of space, which rises to over 1700 with the rear seats folded. That's more than the i5 Touring. And you can stretch out in the back because, again, it's huge. It's nice up front too. No, actually, it's better than that. Up to now, VW's ID models have been a disappointment when it comes to interior quality, but the ID.7 changes this. It feels as plush as an old Golf or an old Passat. The tech now works with a far better operating system for the infotainment, the sliders for the climate control are now backlit, and the head-up display is superb. In typical performance car style, the GTX gets plenty of red trim. There's red on the doors, the stitching and even on the piping on the seats. It's classy and subtle. The outside gets some attention too. There's a new front bumper with unique day running lights and honeycomb trim, and there's a set of special 20 and 21-inch wheels. You can also spend £885 to give your GTX a GTI feel with this fabulous Kings Red paint scheme. But the question you're all dying to know is the ID.7 GTX Tourer a great hot estate? Let me put that question another way. What do you actually want from your hot estate car? If you want balls out, maxed out thrills from your hot load lugger, then perhaps the ID.7 GTX isn't the car for you. But if you want a nicely composed, sporty, good to drive, quick, slightly interesting
performance estate car, then you should pay attention to this ID.7 GTX. Well, let's start with the things that I like then. Now, I have to say I was a little bit surprised at the level of changes there are to this GTX, but the changes they have made I actually quite like. Now, the standard ID.7's steering, there's not much to say really, it just sort of goes where you want it to. But with the ID.7 GTX, you can feel that they've done a bit of work to it. There's a bit more feel just off centre. I can actually sort of feel what the front wheels are doing, and then when you put a little bit more lock on, you can really feel the steering weight up very nicely. It gives you quite a lot of confidence to push this car through the bends. Now, there is an ESC Sport system in this car. You can change a few more of the parameters of the car and the way the car reacts. I do like the way when you're really on it, you can feel the torque vectoring at work to try and get the car round in the best way possible, round the bend in the best way possible, the safest and also the quickest way round the corner. So all of that is really good, and you do feel as though the car is doing a lot of the hard work for you when you're stringing together a set of bends. The two electric motors really do work well together to deliver a pretty fun and engaging drive. There are a few things that I don't like, however. Firstly, it's the ride. Now, when you put it into sport mode, the dampers stiffen up, and this car's got 20-inch wheels, and even on these Swedish roads, the car never really sort of settles really, and I just feel as though in the UK that's going to be exacerbated, that's going to be even worse. The other thing I don't like is when you put the car into sport mode, the throttle really does feel like it's a switch, is either on or it's off. When you're in comfort mode, there's a lot more linearity. It feels the power comes on a lot more progressively, and I think that's sportier in my personal opinion. It's easier to put the power on when you're coming out of a corner. It just feels a lot more balanced. When you're in sport, you're either on it or you're not.
I almost forgot to tell you about its electric credentials. The GTX gets VW's brand new 86 kilowatt-hour battery pack. It can be charged up to 200 kilowatts, meaning if you find a suitable charger, you can get a 10 to 80% top up in 26 minutes. And the range? Well, it's a pretty decent 359 miles claimed.
So the question we want to know is, has the hot estate car's transition to electric power been worth it, or is it a bit of a damp squib? Well, it's a bit of both really. Now, if you are looking out for balls out performance, if you've perhaps had a C63 AMG in the past, or even a VW Golf R estate, you are going to find this car lacking. I know the electric car haters are going to hate me for saying this, but you do lose something by not having an engine and a gearbox. You just do. But on the plus side, this is a very comfortable, refined car to drive. And when you're actually in the mood, this car does deliver an engaging driving experience, far more engaging than I thought it was actually ever going to do. So in terms of being a good family estate car that is comfortable, refined, efficient, it can go a long way on a charge, and yet in that brief moment when you want a bit of fun and excitement when you're coming back from the school run, this car can deliver it. So no, this car isn't the electric equivalent of those fabulous RS4 Avants and Volvo 850 T5Rs of the past, but nor is it trying to. I think this is a great blend of comfort, refinement, practicality, lovely build quality, technology that actually seems to work this time round in this new generation of Volkswagens, whilst also delivering a bit of spice, a bit of engagement when you're in the mood. This is what this car is all about. And on that score, I think VW has done a great job.